All right. I start off every episode that way, and it's starting to become official. Like, I feel like I need to do it every time now. We are now on to the Sort of Sports Podcast, episode number 5. We're going to start off with some college football, move over to NFL, then go to the NBA, wrap things up with a little bit of MLB, and yeah, I might talk about Seinfeld because it's like one of my favorite shows ever, and I just felt like talking about it. All right, let's start off with college football. So, as you all know, or at least you should know, Ohio State played Clemson this past weekend. This is being recorded on Monday, the 4th of January. Obviously, Happy New Year. And I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas because my last episode, I think, was the 23rd or 22nd. So I haven't been on since Christmas. It's been about a nice 2-week break. Had a good Christmas. Didn't get the PS5 because they're sold out. So I'm not really that upset. I'll get it eventually. It's not a big deal. But all right. Over to college football. I completely believed going in, and I think I said this in the podcast, that Ohio State was going to get whooped by Clemson and Alabama was going to whoop Notre Dame. Or maybe Notre Dame put up a bit of a fight, but they'd probably lose. Bama won basically exactly like I thought. The Najee Harris jump was amazing. I'll put it on the screen right now. Man, that's just really impressive. It was a really well played game by Bama, and it just made me think, like, I don't think there's any team better than them, and I don't think any team's going to randomly show up and be better than them. I don't think Ohio State's going to be better than them, but we're going to move over to the big game, which was Clemson-Ohio State, and wow, Ohio State played a really good game, and Clemson did not. I mean, Trevor Lawrence had probably one of his worst games, being as he's pretty much amazing in every game he plays, and Justin Fields is one of his best games. And Ryan Day had just a really good game as a coach. And Trey Sermon, of course, has become the hero for Ohio State. So, I mean, props to Trey Sermon. He probably jumped up to being a second-round pick or maybe, third at the lowest right now. Depending on what happens in the national championship, he could be late first for somebody. Like, he could be like a J.K. Dobbins level guy. Like, wow, Trey Sermon. I'm really impressed. He really helped out his draft stock. Bama's insane. Just want to restate, like, they're crazy. I made jokes to my friends. I was like, the only way to slow Alabama down is if you stop Devonta Smith and Najee Harris. And the issue is, you can't. You can't do that. You can't slow them both down. So you really can't beat Alabama. I think this team is like the best offense I think Saban's had ever. Granted, some people probably argue with me on that, but I seriously think it's the best offense he's ever had. It's just a crazy good team. Looking at Bama right now, it's like the defense isn't as elite as usual. They gave up a lot of points to Florida. They gave up like 30-something points to Notre Dame. They're giving up more points than you'd think, but that offense, like Ohio State would have to play as good of a game as they did against Clemson, who their defense fell apart, and I don't think Bama's defense is going to be that bad, just to keep up with Bama, let alone win. So I'm not sure. I just don't think Ohio State's going to beat them. I think they're going to lose to Alabama. If I'm wrong, everybody can make fun of me because I was wrong about the Clemson game. I thought Ohio State would lose there too. I'm very shocked. They played a really good game. And as a Carolina Panthers fan, now I'm really, really in between because I can't decide if I want Fields or if I want Wilson. I think I've come to the conclusion that whoever's there, take them. I'm guessing only one of them will be there by the time we pick. But if it comes down to it, I feel like Matt Rule's got me covered. That's probably should be in the NFL section, but I covered it now because I wanted to. Bama versus OSU, though, I think Bama will win, but I think it'll be a really good game. I mean, that's really exciting. I think that's more fun than watching Clemson versus Bama again, especially after we saw Clemson played. It wouldn't have been much of a game. And, yeah, I mean, overall, I do think Ohio State's going to lose, but they had a heck of a season. And that moves us over to something really interesting, which is the Group of Five conferences. You know, like Cincinnati's AAC, and, of course, BYU and Coastal Carolina. Those three all had really great seasons, but they didn't make the playoff. And there are, I don't want to say rumors, they were just articles saying, should the Group of Five look at their own playoff? And I think, yeah. Like, if there was a Group of Five playoff, it would be Cincinnati playing San Diego State, and then BYU playing Coastal Carolina. The winners of those two games playing a championship probably be Coastal versus maybe BYU would win the rematch. So maybe it'd be like BYU versus Cincinnati. Like that'd be sweet. I don't know where that. I mean I hope that'd get a lot of viewership, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if enough people care about Group of Five, but I don't know. I think it'd be really sweet. Draft implications of everything. Devonta Smith made himself basically say, Dolphins take me with number 3. Because, I mean, if the Dolphins really like Sewell, I understand if they snag him with the 3 pick. I think the Jets should stick with Darnold. This is kind of a segue into the NFL because we're discussing both college and NFL. Overall, like I said about the championship, I do think Bama's going to win national championship. I do think Devonta Smith should be Heisman. If Ohio State wins, though, my comment section will be happy. I see you, Chad, with the Go Bucks. But draft implications of all this is that the Dolphins, I think, should take a wide receiver with the 3 pick because they really need help. And why not take the guy from Alabama where Tua used to go to school? It just makes sense. Obviously, Jamar Chase has a really, really, really good case, but I think you take the Heisman, who's from the school Tua's from. And that moves us over to Browns versus Steelers. A lot of my friends making jokes. Congratulations to the Browns. They made the playoffs off beating Mason Rudolph in the practice squad. And that's true, but I mean, I think the Browns are good this season. I don't think they're going to be able to beat the Chiefs and the Bills. There's this thing in the NFL where it feels like there's the NFC teams, which really the only one I trust are the Packers. They're the only team I really trust in the NFC. I kind of trust the Saints, but they just feel weird. There's something about them I just don't fully trust. And then there's like the Bills and the Chiefs just feel like the 2 best teams far and away. Like the Bills just beat the tar out of the Dolphins. And it's just weird. It just feels like the 2 best teams are in the AFC. They're going to play in the AFC title regardless of what happens with the lower games. I think the Browns, even if they beat the Steelers, they'll lose to the Bills. This is kind of moving over to playoff predictions, but it's just funny how, the 2 best teams are in the AFC. I think whoever wins the AFC title is going to win the Super Bowl. But that'll be over in the predictions because we got to move over to what we were originally talking about, which is Browns-Steelers. They played a good game. The Browns did. They had this weird thing where they really couldn't score the second half, and that was odd. For those of you that watched, you probably saw how great Chubb was, and, I mean, good for Chubb. We all know I'm a Chubb. I love Nick Chubb on this podcast. I think he's an amazing player, and everybody should love Nick Chubb. He's cool. But I'm just glad the Browns made the playoffs. So, I mean, props to Browns fans. Give yourself a round of applause. Hopefully they beat the Steelers in their playoff game. If they don't, they don't. But, I mean, they took a big step forward as a franchise this year, and I think they're going to be able to continue to keep building off that. Let's talk about the Bears and the Washington football team. 2 weird teams that made the playoffs. The Bears are weird because they've got an amazing defense, but they're weird of Trubisky, and I think at this point you might as well keep him. You made the playoffs twice with him. He's all right. Like, I don't think he's not terrible. He's not amazing, but he's not terrible. So you might as well just wait until he's terrible and just keep him. Because you're not going to have a high enough pick at this rate to select Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields or Zach Wilson. So you might as well just stick with him, and then if eventually he sucks really bad, and then you just replace him. That's what I think. But the Bears are weird because they have a great defense. They have, like, Khalil Mack, who's just amazing. The Jets, they need to keep Darnold. I've decided after they've won 3 games, I mean, they just need to keep Darnold. He's not terrible. I was just talking to a friend of mine, Mason. He agreed with me. He's like, yeah, he's not awful. The team sucks, but Darnold's not a bad QB. There's no point in taking Fields and reworking your entire system just because you feel like it. Like, there's no point. Oh, they did lose to the Patriots. Did I say 3 wins? I meant to say 2 wins. But they almost beat the Patriots. That was weird. I'm saying there's so many teams that are going to take quarterbacks this draft. The Panthers benched Bridgewater after he had a terrible game against the Saints, 2 interceptions. Obviously the Jaguars are taking Lawrence. That's a done deal. The Falcons might take somebody. The Panthers are probably going to take somebody. The Niners are probably going to take somebody. The Patriots are definitely probably going to take somebody. I don't know why I said definitely probably, but you know what I mean. That's 5 teams that could potentially take quarterback. Not even counting your random Saints pick if they really feel weird. So it's a good thing it's a stacked quarterback class because, there's 5 first-round level quarterbacks. There's Jones, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Fields, Lawrence. So as long as the Panthers get Fields or Wilson, I'm happy. If they take Trey Lance, they better have a good plan, but I think Lance is off to the Niners. I just feel like that fits, or the Broncos. But I think the Broncos are sticking with Locke until next year and just see what happens. NFL, there's other things. The Chiefs. I said the Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl. I stand by the Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl. Sorry, spoiler for my predictions. They're still the best. Mahomes is my MVP. I know Rodgers leads the NFL in touchdowns. Oddly enough, I saw today Deshaun Watson leads in passing yards. I was shocked. That team is not good, and poor Deshaun is out there still being a Pro Bowl level quarterback. I saw he's third-string Pro Bowl. Go you, Deshaun Watson. I am just so impressed. Please, Texans, get other good players. Please, please, please. Trade for Julio Jones. I saw the Falcons want to trade him. I don't know why the Falcons want to trade him, but Julio Jones better get traded to either the Texans or the Packers immediately. Why the Packers? Because they really, in reality, only have one star receiver. I have a buddy, Aaron John. He is a huge Packers fan, and he even told me himself. He's like, I like Lazard. I can't remember how you say it. But he's like, yeah, Devontae Adams is really our only good receiver. So, the Packers need to draft some receivers. Hopefully Jalen Waddle falls to them at the 20th. I think they're probably 28th pick. So, I don't know. We'll see. But, the Chiefs are still the best team. The Bills are very scary. And I know there's all these articles the Chiefs are beatable. The Chiefs are beatable, but Mahomes isn't. So I trust Patrick Mahomes. We all know how much of a Mahomes lover I am. If the Bills beat the Chiefs, they're winning the Super Bowl. I don't think that means Josh Allen's better than Mahomes, though. If Mahomes throws 3 interceptions and passes for 150 yards and Josh Allen goes off for 6 touchdowns and 300 yards, well then Josh Allen might be the better quarterback, but that's not going to happen. If the Bills beat the Chiefs, it's going to be a hard-fought game in which the defense takes over. And I think the Chiefs' defense is about as good as the Bills, or maybe they're pretty close. They're really not that different. So, I don't know. I just think the Chiefs are the best team, guys. I know the media wants to make it the Bills, but I think they're just bored. They're just slightly bored. They just want to see it be somebody else. And I'm telling you, the Chiefs are still the best team in the NFL. All right, we're going to move over finally to playoff predictions. Not finally, because we still got a lot of other stuff to cover. But, all right, here we go. So we'll start with the game that is first on the Super Wild Card weekend. We'll start with the game that's first on Saturday. The 1 o'clock game on Saturday is Colts-Bills. This is a beatdown game. I don't think... If you're a Colts fan, you know that... Oh, yeah, the Colts, they could draft quarterback, too. Holy crap. So many quarterbacks. Kyle Trask would be good there. Or if they trade for Wentz or Stafford. Side note, I was going to mention this earlier. I forgot. I think the Steelers should trade for Carson Wentz. After watching the Mason Rudolph game, that was abysmal. They need to trade for Carson Wentz. I think he'd fit really well there. He's a pocket passer. He can still extend the play with his legs, though. He could just back up for Ben. Ben could mentor him. I think Carson Wentz could be an MVP-level player with the Steelers. I think the Steelers could work perfectly with him. Please, Steelers, trade Deontay Johnson and some picks and get him. I think that's all you'd have to do. I don't think you'd have to give up Juju or Claypool. Give up Deontay or Washington. You don't really need one of them. I mean, you like both of them is what I meant to say. So just make the move. Get Carson Wentz. I think he'd fit perfectly. And if you don't, the Colts might take him, and he might kill for the Colts. And that would be weird. Other thing, this just happened today, so I don't have it written on my topics, but I wanted to cover it. Urban Meyer's probably going to be the Jaguars coach, and the Chargers job is an amazing job, because, you get one of the best young quarterbacks and a really good defensive player, not an overall good defense, but you do get Joey Bosa, who you can build your defense around. So, if I'm an NFL head coach, I can go to the Jaguars, who have the most cap space and 2 first-round picks, one of those being Trevor Lawrence, or I can go coach Justin Herbert. Those are 2 great jobs, and it just makes the Jets and Falcons jobs look way less good. And I'm sure, obviously, everybody's going to get hires, but I mean, I think Urban Meyer's going to the Jaguars because that's a great job, and I think he'll kill it there. And the Jaguars, if you're a Jaguars fan, I've never met a Jaguars fan in my life, go you. Seriously, wow, you guys are going to be really building something down there. And Florida is going to have 3 really good teams. I like what the Dolphins did this year. They're obviously going to have to, build upon it next year. They're a younger team, but they're really looking good. All right, let's move back over to playoff predictions. Sorry, quick sidetrack. Yeah, that Bills-Colts game's a beatdown game. The Colts are their own worst enemy, it feels like. But, yeah, I just be the Bills are the better team. There's really nothing here that really changes. It's pretty simple. The 4 o'clock game on Saturday is Rams-Seahawks. And so that's a tough one because when they played, I think it was 2 weeks back, week 16, everybody was like, including me, was like, oh, that's going to be a great game. And then it was boring. And that was weird. I think this will be closer than people think. The Rams are weird. The Seahawks are good, but their defense isn't. They have I think they might have the last ranked defense in the entire NFL. So that's really something to think about. But it just feels like Russell Wilson will power him through. And Jared Goff is so inconsistent for the Rams. He's consistently inconsistent, as they put on that game. When it was on, they put the stats up, and he's too successful, and they've put too much time into him to fully move on. But goodness, he's incredibly inconsistent. The NFL wildcard round that end, the Saturday games. For the Saturday games, the last game is the 8 o'clock game, Bucks, Washington. I think Washington is actually really building something nice out there in the NFC East. The NFC East is going to be decent next year. I think the Eagles are pretty good. Obviously, the pulling Jalen Hurts thing was a jerk move by Peterson, but I mean, I do think he was trying to screw the Giants over, but I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. That was a pretty jerky move. But the NFC East can be decent because the Cowboys, obviously, they're going to re-sign Dak. I don't think he's leaving. They're going to have a good team next year, and the Bucks are obviously going to be good next year if Brady doesn't fall apart. And Washington's got a really good defense, and they're building something on offense. I mean, I think they could run Alex Smith and be a decent wild card level team. I know it's not the most exciting thing on the planet. They're not going to build a Super Bowl team next year, but, I mean, they've got good pieces. They can be a playoff team. They showed that this year. But I'm saying in a year where they don't have to be under 500 and still make the playoffs, I think they could be a solid team. The Bucks Washington game, though, I think it'll be closer than we think, but I think the Bucks win it. I just think Brady's going to will them, even though Evans is hurt. So keep an eye on that. Then, of course, moving over to Sunday, 1 o'clock, we have Ravens-Titans. That'll be an absolute hood classic. I'm very excited for that game. I'm going to give it to the Titans, though. I just feel like Derrick Henry's going to get it done. He's the best running back in the NFL. I think McCaffrey's second nowadays. Henry is so good. And, he's just had back-to-back seasons. First guy ever, I'm pretty sure, to ever have back-to-back seasons of 2,000 rushing yards. He's incredible. And I think Lamar, I know there's this stigma now that he can't win big games, and I don't want to feed into that, but I feel like that Titans team's got something nice. Like, Ryan Tannehill's good. He's actually a really good quarterback, and Henry's amazing. Like, they've got a good team out there in Tennessee, so I'm gonna trust the Titans and say they beat the Ravens. Second year in a row. Saints Bears, I don't think I need to talk about this. The Saints win. Kamara's doing crazy well for them right now. Just give him the ball and let him cook. This could potentially be Breeze's last year too, so he's going to be on a mission. And then Browns Steelers. This is obviously the big, interesting game. A really big part of me wants to say the Browns. I just think they've got the upset in them. But granted, they just played, and this is so difficult for me. I'm going to give it to the Browns, but that's a hopeful. I just think I'm being nice. But I'm going to give it to the Browns. Legitimately, I think they could pull it off, the upset. But, I mean, I think this is just me being a little biased because I'd like to see it because I think it'd just be kind of cool. Moving over to what happens in the second round. That obviously feeds us the Bills versus the Browns and the Chiefs versus the Titans. We'll start off Bills-Browns. Bills are beating them, no doubts about it. If it's Steelers, the Bills are beating them too, no doubts about it. The Bills are the second best team in the NFL. Should be simple. Barring anything weird, like the Browns just randomly go like insane on them, I don't think the Browns can beat the Bills. They could barely get by the Steelers. They might not even get by the Steelers, so they're not getting by the Bills. Titans, Chiefs. This will be closer than we think, but the Chiefs are going to win. Chiefs are probably better than they were last year, I'd say, and the Titans are better than they were last year, but still makes the Chiefs better. Moving over to the NFC, we then have Seahawks, Saints. That'll be great. I genuinely don't have a clue. Like, it feels like the first round of NFC games is kind of weak, but the second round they got some good games. I'm going to give the look to... Oh, man, this is tough. I guess I'm going to go with the... I guess I'm going to go with the Saints. Honestly, I just think they're going to get it done because it's probably Breeze's last year. Packers, Bucks. The game I don't want to predict because that's very difficult too. And now that I'm thinking about it, no, I'm going to stick with the Saints. I'm going to give the nod to the Packers. I think Rodgers is really on a mission, but this is truly a coin toss to me because Brady's going to be on a mission. Rodgers is going to be on a mission. Like, we got 4 quarterbacks, and, like, every single team is on a mission in this round. Wilson wants to prove he's, like, a winner again. Breeze might retire. Brady's getting old. Rodgers getting old. Like, everybody here is on a mission. And then there's the AFC where it's just Josh Allen versus Mahomes being like, hey, we're the future of the league. It's just kind of funny. I guess I'll go Packers. But I would be surprised at all if it's Seahawks, Bucks, and not Packers, Saints. I'm going to give the nod to the Packers in the NFC title. That's not as tough for me to call. If it's the Seahawks, I think whoever wins that Bucks-Packers game is going to the Super Bowl. To me, that's the real NFC title. I don't think the Seahawks or the Saints can beat either of those teams. Move over to the AFC. That obviously gives us Chiefs-Bills. I trust the Chiefs more. We all know this. Chiefs over Bills in a great game probably. That would be amazing. Then we get Chiefs-Packers. Mahomes versus Rodgers. The MVP narratives all over the place. At this point, Rodgers might have won. Mahomes might have won. Mahomes should have won regardless. And honestly, the Chiefs are going to win. Said it all season. He's my MVP. He should win. As for other awards, Coach of the Year, I think, should be Kevin Stefanski. I mean, he really turned this Browns teams around, and I think he deserves it. Him, I kind of want to go with Patricia, but it just feels weird because he's not even technically 500 and he made the playoffs. So that feels funky. So I truly believe it is Stefanski. Or the Bills coach. All of a sudden, his name is slipping my mind, and it could be him or Stefanski. Really, either one. I don't care out of those two. Those two both are very deserving. As for my MVP, I think it's Mahomes, Super Bowl. I think he's going to win them. Like his first year in the NFL, obviously, he didn't get to do much. Second year, he wins MVP. Third year, he wins Super Bowl. Fourth year, he wins both. That's what I think's happening. As for defensive player, I think AFC defensive player, I think should be Myles Garrett. Especially if Stefanski's coach of the year. I think it looks nice. But NFC defensive player of the year, not 100% sure who's got the best stats on that. But maybe I don't think Cameron Hayward has that good of stats. But I'm not sure on that. That's difficult for NFC Defensive Player of the Year. But Rookie of the Year, AFC Rookie of the Year, I think should be obviously Justin Herbert, offensive, of course. And then NFC Offensive Rookie of the Year should be Justin Jefferson. I think those are two easy calls. Moving over to NBA. Surprises for this season. We'll start off with that. The Hawks. I think I had the Hawks making the playoffs, just barely though. And they look nice. I mean, obviously they don't have a lot of defense, like I said they wouldn't, but they look good. They're a good team. I gotta hand it to them. They're gonna be a playoff team. It's that simple. Tyrese Halliburton looks nice, and the Kings are starting to think maybe they want to move away from De'Aaron Fox. Like, there's really no reason not to. Well, actually, there is reasons not to, but I'm saying if he keeps doing this well and you think he's better, just go with him. Because you could move De'Aaron Fox, get better assets. The Kings are weird because they have so many young players they can't decide who to go with. I'm saying if you would rather build around Halliburton, maybe do it. He's been looking great. All right, moving over to the other big surprise, which is the Clippers aren't doing that well. I'm not sure if you think it's a surprise or not, but I think it's kind of a surprise. But, I think they'll get it together. They've been looking better now, but first couple weeks they weren't looking too hot. I don't think Kawhi's leaving regardless, but I do think they don't look like a championship team. Like right now, it really feels like a Lakers-Bucks finals, or maybe like a Lakers-Celtics or Lakers-Nets. Remember the Mavericks, they're doing well even with like Porzingis being hurt. Granted, they're not doing as well as like, how would I say this? Like they would do with him, obviously, but I think Luka's looking like the MVP I predicted him to be. Granted, partially this could be me like wanting it to be that way. Like I'm obviously seeing that because that's my prediction, but overall, like I think the Mavericks are looking good. I think they're probably the second team I would say can make the finals. Over the Clippers, yes. I really think the Mavericks have something special. LaMelo looks great. I got to hand it to him. He looks really good. Maybe he should have been the number one pick. Edwards looks good, not amazing, and Wiseman looks good, but not amazing. Well, Wiseman has a lot of potential. So does Edwards, but LaMelo just looks such like a complete passer. He's doing so well. It's just really impressive to me. And those Hornets jerseys those are nice jerseys. The Pacers are shocking everybody, including me. And I really don't know what else to say about that. Like, the Pacers are doing well. Domantas Sabonis is showing us, like, hey, I'm a probably third or second team All-NBA. He's really doing well, and the Pacers could be a nice playoff team. I don't think they're a finals team. To me, they're like a Raptors back when, like, before they had Kawhi or last year without Kawhi. That's how good they are. I feel like that's like the way they play. The Suns are doing really well, and it feels like Chris Paul's destiny is just to be on really good young teams. And I really like that role for him, and I just think the Suns are taking advantage of that. The Bucks seem as expected, like they're doing well. Obviously, they're not like undefeated or anything, but they're doing well. They look like they're on the right track. Obviously, everybody is still gelling, and Dante DaVincio is doing very well, and I'm very happy we didn't trade him because I always really liked him, and I'm happy he's doing well now because he could definitely be a really good player for us down the stretch. The Cavs. The Cavs are my favorite team overall in any sport, and the fact that they're like looking really good is making me so happy. I think Colin Sexton is going to win Most Improved Player. This is how it feels right now. He's doing so much better. And the Cavs, like, maybe we're going to be like the 10th or 11th worst record. I mean, yeah, 10th or 11th best record. So that would be like, only 5 away from last. That's a lot better than being last place in the conference. Maybe we're like 10th in the conference now. 10th best record in the conference. I am very happy with that. And Okoro is doing stuff a lot more. Like, he doesn't really show up on the stat sheet, but he's really good defensively. I just hope he can develop offensively. I don't want him to be Stanley Johnson. I think I've said that before, but I'm just saying I want somebody who can be offense and defense. But, man, like, Sexland, they're quite the duo. I'm really happy with what's happening. Bickerstaff got it together. We're going to wrap up NBA by talking about the top 5, my opinion, the top 5 city jerseys. This isn't in any particular order. I'm just picking what are the top 5 coolest city jerseys from this year. One of them, I'd say the Pacers. I think it looks great the way they did it with the retro, but it has like a nice newer looking blue. It just looks really freaking sweet, and I really like what the Pacers did there. It looks great, and it reminds me of like NBA Live like 05. I always played with Pacers with them. I always played with Pacers on there because you could have Jermaine O'Neal, and alley-ooping was overpowered in that game. The San Antonio Spurs, they're like definitely up there. Their jersey looks amazing. It might even be better than the Pacers one. That one is so, so beautiful with the Fiesta. It's so cool. I think it really looks nice. It's like the coolest Spurs jersey ever. Granted, it's not saying a lot, but it's still really nice. Obviously, Miami. I know some people are down on it. My Miami fan, my friend that's a Miami fan, Dalton, he thought it was pretty cool. Didn't like it as much as the old ones. I don't like it as much as the old ones, but it's still sweet. There's no doubt about it. It still looks great. The other one, this is tough. I think the Lakers would have been way cooler if they went blue and white instead of white with blue. I don't think that you get enough blue in there. I think next year they just need to go with a blue jersey. Just go all out, go blue with the white Los Angeles lettering. I just think it looked way cooler. Obviously the Hawks one, the Martin Luther King Jr., that is sweet. The way they did that with the colors, I really like the way everything looks. And I like the message. It's just really nice overall. This is tough. I'm looking, like I really got the top 3 I really like. Like Utah's is cool with the like the sunset. The Valley is sweet by the Suns. The Oakland is nice by the Warriors. And I like the Chicago one. I think I'm going to have to go with the Valley. I think those are sweet. The Phoenix Suns Valley. And it's really sad that Kelly Oubre designed those after, and they were revealed right when he was traded. That sucked. But, that really sucks, but they are pretty cool jerseys. MLB, this is a quick thing. Cleveland said no, they're not doing the Tribe. So I guess they heard my podcast and they said, screw you, Ryan. We're doing what we want now. But I'm kidding. Obviously, they didn't hear my podcast. But that does kind of suck. I liked the idea of going with the Tribe. But I understand if they want to go a different direction. So in my case, if you're going to go in a different direction, redo the color scheme, redo the jerseys, redo everything, and name yourself the Spiders. Just go with it. Why not? Go that way, redo, do new colors, do new everything. New logo, new everything. And I think it's the best way to go. Lastly, I was just going to mention my one of my favorite shows, like my 2 favorite television shows of all time are easily like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Seinfeld. But I was really watching Seinfeld lately, and I'm just thinking it's going to be on Netflix soon. They obviously just took The Office off, and my girlfriend was very upset by this news, even though I had warned her for months this was going to happen. But it's her favorite show, so I understood. But when Seinfeld comes on Netflix, everybody better watch it because I might just start naming off some of my favorite episodes on the podcast. That might be fun. I don't know. But it's definitely one of my favorite shows. I really like the interplay of the characters. I like the way it's written, how it doesn't really get old, and it's just written a lot smarter than most sitcoms from that era, where it's not like the characters are saying funny things. It's the situations the characters get in. It's not funny like joke funny. It's funny like situationally. I don't know how to describe it. Like, for example, in Friends, the things that are funny are just stuff they're saying. Like they're saying funny things. Whereas Seinfeld, it's really funny because of the situation and how they're reacting to the situation, if that makes sense. I don't know, just hit me. I'm like, that's a really good show, and when it comes on Netflix, everybody needs to watch it. All right, then. Well, see you all on the next one. Hope this was a good one. Bye.